Growing your overall eBay footprint can get you more views and more sales. Hey, it's Don. Today we're going to talk about your overall selling structure of your online business. Now, overall, you want the biggest footprint you can have. You want your stuff broadcast over the biggest reach you can conceive. And that is part of the reason why cross-listing does work. So if you have your items on multiple sites, you can get more sales because it will be shown to far more people than if it was just sitting on one site. That's the whole draw of getting your stuff out there. Building the biggest footprint. Wherever you can get your stuff out, that is adding to your footprint and increasing the amount of people that can see your item. That is all this is about. Getting people in there to actually look at your items. Now, if you're just on one single platform, like say eBay, there are some things you can do to increase your eBay specific footprint, the amount of reach you have based on what you have listed. Now, we have tens of thousands of items active listed right this minute. There's many different structures and many different ways that can work on eBay. You don't have to have a bunch of quantity. Some people can sell with limited quantity, but what works for me is to have a ton of listings, as many as I can get up in specific categories. Now, these listings aren't just junk. I've researched them all. I've only listed things that should have potential of selling above and beyond $9.99. That is my key, my bottom end floor to list anything this day. So those are all things I think about no matter what I'm doing in my business. Your footprint on eBay itself is important, and you can do things to increase that. There are some things you can do, though, to get a bigger reach, to increase your footprint just on eBay alone, if that is the only place you are selling. Now, one thing we do is we stagger our inventory. We stagger what we list up on eBay, or really any site. But just in general with eBay, we stagger everything we list. We have quantity. So many times I'll have hundreds of items in the very same category, the very same niche, at any given time that I could be listing any day of the week if I wanted to. I've talked about my 90-day plan many, many times in the past. We have a plan where we set certain things aside and we rotate what we list. And what that does is it gives us that bigger footprint. Now, how does it do that? Why would that do anything for you in any way, shape, or form? When I'm listing things and I list everything I got in one specific category, one specific niche, all in a tight little section of space, let's say I list a few hundred items in a 3 or 4 hour time span all together. All of those items may, because the niche is small, be compact. So when somebody's doing a random search or even a keyword search, all of your items will be condensed into one single section, a page or two of listings. If they're looking by 200 listings at a time, you may just be on one page, even though there's 50, 100 pages specifically for that one specific category. And what I have learned from doing this for more than a decade is it's always best to have your listings appear on multiple pages all across the spectrum of eBay. So if I've got hundreds of the same items, I may only list 50 at a time, 50 one day, and then wait another week to list something similar. Let's say we're listing postcards, for an example. I'll only list, say, California postcards for a small time frame in this specific day, and I'll wait a few days or whatever the case may be, and then list another group of those. I'll rotate what I list. That way my items show up on multiple pages all across eBay. Now that starts off the chain. Obviously, when they relist, they can relist and put some gaps in it. But what you want is your items to show up on multiple pages, not just one condensed section because you jam them all together. That is one thing that I can say has helped and has increased our overall visibility, which then in turn increases our sales. This can work with keyword search results as well because it will spread you out. You won't just be compact to one little single area. I do this with buttons. I do this with postcards. I do this with records. Like with comics, for an example, I may list 50, say, Superman, and then 50 Spider-Man, 50 sci-fi, or anything along that line. I will split them up so my items show out across the board. This is another way to help to dominate a specific category. And by dominate it, I mean have your stuff visible everywhere. Have more than anybody else does up in that specific category. These are all ways that you can use to get more appeal, more interest, more views to your store. And again, as I said, that's what this is about. The more people that see it, the broader your reach, the bigger footprint footprint you have, the more people are going to see your items, no matter what. That's just the way it works. So when people see you on every single page they're looking through in a specific category niche, because you've spread them out very clearly, it'll seem like you're everywhere there. It will be a dominating factor in that category. So no matter what page they look on, they're going to see your listings over and over and over and over again, instead of just one little condensed section. Now, obviously, this isn't going to work for everybody. If you've only got a few hundred listings, not a lot of inventory, this may not obviously work for you, but it'll be something to think about going forward. This is something that I've tested. I've played around with this for years. I have done this for years. Talked about it for quite some time. Again, 90-day plan. We do mix that up. I mix up what we list. So even in specific niches, say buttons, I can mix up buttons. I can do military one day, crest livery another day, fire department, police department another day. All of these sorts of things can be mixed up in so many different ways. It'll help spread the items out. And again, as I said, that increases your footprint, your spacing, your ability to be seen across the site. Now, I test everything out, so I've checked this out. I've tracked it. I've done a ton of Excel spreadsheets. Does this work? Does this not work? Wrote down how I'm listing it, and then I can do similar aspects of it without splitting them up and compare them. So it's easy to see if you've got a difference in sales. It's real easy to see when it's slow and other people are dying, but yet you still have those sales coming in. You're still getting views. You can instantly see when you're splitting stuff up that the views do come in, especially when you have quantity. So test everything that you do. Again, it may not work for you. You may not have enough quantity. You may not have enough in a specific niche. Now, if you're selling clothing or something like that, or even video games, this may not work. People are looking for clothing, only want certain sizes, certain styles, so you can't flood the market in those specific categories the same way you can, say, in a niche one, like a postcard, a record, movie memorabilia, posters, old photos, all that kind of stuff I can flood categories with. I can broadcast my stuff out and get that bigger footprint. So again, it comes down to what you sell. If you're not selling the right items, it's not going to work for you. A lot of things I do, or even other sellers do, may not work for every person. It just depends on your business structure itself. Many people may not be looking to sell and have high volumes of items up. That may not be your structure. Some sellers I know only have a dozen or so items in their store, and they're NOS wholesale, and they can keep replenishing them and selling them left and right, and they make a decent income doing that. Most people will not have that luck. Most people will need to have volume up to actually get and lock in those sales. To see routine sales, for me, it's taken volume. And I'm out there, I know how to source just as good as anybody else. I just don't have the ability to find $500 items every minute of the day, or $1,000 items. Otherwise, I'd be listing these high dollar items. I found what works for me. Through trial and error, I've figured out what works for my personal taste, what I like, what's easy to list, what's easy to ship, and what offers me the least amount of hassle and headaches. And Vintage does that, as well as some of the NOS and RA wholesale items that we do also. For most people, it's going to take a trial and error aspect to do this, to figure out where you fit into the reselling gambit of structure. Another thing I suggest all the time, too, if you're selling collectibles, niches, and things like that, would be to look at your competitors. I look at my competitors constantly. I check out their footprint. I check out how many listings they have in specific categories. All of that sort of information is key and essential to helping you grow your business. You need to be able to know when you can dominate the category, when you can have enough listings in there to be a dominating force where you can get those extra views and those extra sales. Now, one of the best changes I've taken to actually increase our views and sales has been copying one of my competitors with the zoom-ins, where you zoom in to key parts of an image for your main gallery image view on eBay. You have the best possible image that fills it up, no white background, something unique, something nice. That always gets me better views than other folks who have the exact same item up, but with a long shot, distance shot of that item. So there are things you can do. You got to play around. You got to test the waters. this works, you keep going with it. If it doesn't work, you just abandon it and then go on from there. But check it out. Test all this stuff out. With this philosophy of bigger footprint and as well dominating categories, I can list something right now when 10 other sellers may have it up and sell it before them, even at a higher price. Every one of these little aspects I'm talking about is another reason that you'll get a little more boost in your actual visibility and your sales. So if you're top notch in all of these little aspects, like your feedback, your photos, your titles, your keywords, broadcasting, and giving yourself a bigger footprint, all of those little steps you take add up to give you a better result for your store. More sales, more views, more return customers, all of that works. Dig in. It's not just throwing some listings up and you're going to get a whole bunch of sales, and you've got to work this. You've got to go through it. You've got to check your store out. You've got to change things when they aren't working. You need to compare again to your competitors and see why they're selling if you are not. So if you can't go across to other different sites and cross list, make sure your footprint on eBay or whatever platform you're on is as big as it can be. But anyway, that's what I have for you today. Hopefully that gave you some ideas, some thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
Loupe has Superman trapped. He's using kryptonite to destroy his powers.
Now you'll tell me why Superman peanut butter tastes so great. Never. So fresh roasted, so creamy, so yummy. Then its secret will be mine, all mine. I spoiled again. Just wait, Superman. I'll find out.
Superman peanut butter. Its strength is its great taste.